Shalom, Israel. I'm going to go over some of the animals that we can and cannot eat according to Leviticus 11, verse 1 through 31. Leviticus 11, verse 1 through 31. I'm going to go over some of those animals. And the Lord spake unto Moses and to Aaron, saying unto them, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, These are the beasts which ye shall eat among all the beasts that are on the earth. This was a commandment, a law that the Most High spoke to Moses and to Aaron to tell all of the children of Israel. We are the children of Israel, Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indians of Negro descent. We are the chosen people. We are the children of the Most High. So it says, verse 3, Whatsoever part of the hoof and is cloven footed and cheweth the cud among the beasts, that shall ye eat. So there's a few things in there. The hoof have to be parted. It has to be that's cloven footed, and it has to chew the cud. Okay, so we're going to go through a few animals. You know, there are other animals, but these are just a few of the animals that chew the cud and are cloven footed. The oxen, the sheep, the goat, a deer, gazelles, roebuck, wild goats, ibex, antelopes, mountain sheep. These are a few. A cow, a deer. All of these are animals that are able to be eaten, that are cloven footed and chew the cud. A bison, all these are cloven footed and chew of the cud. It says, Nevertheless, these shall ye not eat of them that chew the cud, or of them that divide the hoof. As the camel, we can't eat a camel, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof. The hoof of a camel is not divided, like a goat. So he is unclean to you. And the coney is a rabbit, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof. So a rabbit's hoof is not divided. So he's unclean to you. And the hare, what is a hare? It's a different type of rabbit. It's like a jackrabbit's bigger than a regular rabbit. It has like longer ears, longer legs. It can run faster, but it's still considered like a rabbit, but it's called a hare. Because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean to you. So you can't eat a hare or a rabbit. And the swine, though he divide the hoof and be cloven footed, yet he cheweth not the cud, he is unclean to you. So the swine is the pig. It said it chews not the cud. What does that mean, to chew not the cud? It means that they don't slowly chew their partly the digested food over and over again in their mouth before finally swallowing. Pigs don't do that. So, and the swine, the pig, though it divided up a hoof and is cloven footed, yet he cheweth not the cud, he is unclean to you. So you can't eat pig. You can't eat any type of pig, honey baked ham, pig's feet, chitlins, bacon, anything that's pork, you're not allowed to eat. It is unclean to you. It does not chew the cud. And let me tell you again what it means to chew the cud. Chewing the cud means that the food is not slowly chewed over and over again in the mouth before finally being swallowed. See, a cow keeps chewing the food, chewing the food, chewing the food, and then eventually it swallows it. A pig doesn't do that. Plus, a pig is nasty. It doesn't have pores. So all the disease, parasites stay within the skin. So you're eating all kind of disease. That's why you have people getting gout and different other kind of heart diseases, because they have all kind of worms and stuff inside of them. They're very unclean. Okay. And we do have a lot of Israelites that still can't stop eating that pork. They need to repent and stop eating the pork and stop eating unclean animals. because that's what they were taught to eat, and they should stop. Of their flesh shall ye not eat, and their carcass shall ye not touch. They are unclean to you. Verse 9, these shall ye eat of all that are in the waters, whatsoever have fins and scales in the waters in the seas and in the rivers, them shall ye eat. There are many examples of animals that you can eat: cobia, bass, blue-eyed cod, uh, butterfish. Carp. There's a lot of different flounder, grouper, haddock, herring. There's a lot of fish that you are mullet. There's a lot of different fish that you pike, that you can eat, redfish. There are many fish that have both scales and fins that you can eat. So again, verse 9, there shall ye eat of all that are in the waters whatsoever have fins and scales. So it had whatever fish that you eat or whatever that's in the water, it has to have both fins and scales. So if it's anything in the waters, in the seas, the rivers, lakes, whatever, if it does not have both fins and scales, you cannot eat it. It is unclean to you. Okay. Verse 10, and all that have not fins and scales in the seas and in the rivers, of all that move in the waters, and of all living thing which is in the waters, they shall be an abomination unto you. Okay? So those that don't have both fins and scales, as an example, bassa, a lot of the stores will sell that fish called bassa, B-A-S-A, catfish, they don't have scales. Crabs, eel, flake, lumpfish, marlin, rock salmon. There are different shellfish. There's no shellfish, crab, crawfish, lobster, oysters, none of those. Squid, mussels, stingrays, swordfish, sturgeon, none of those fish you can eat. Why? Because they don't have both scales and fins. Okay, so they are abomination to you. That means that they are not healthy for you. A lot of them are bottom feeders. So they eat different uh, deposits from other fish and different trash on the bottom of the water. So unless you want to eat trash and put trash into your temple, then those fish are unclean to you. Verse 11, they shall be even an abomination unto you. Ye shall not eat of their flesh, but ye shall have their carcass in abomination. Verse 12, whatsoever have no fins nor scales in the waters, that shall be an abomination unto you. And these are they which ye shall have in abomination among the fowls. They shall not be eaten. They are an abomination. The eagle and the ostrich. What is an ostrich? It's a type of vulture, also called the bearded vulture. See, they eat dead animals. So why would you want to eat something that eat dead animals? And the osprey, okay? Osprey is a type of vulture, as I was saying. The ostrich is a type of vulture, um, also called the bearded vulture. So, those type of animals you're not to eat. It says, and the vulture and the kite after his kind. There are many different type of vultures. Okay, even though the ostrich is a type of vulture, there are many different types. So it's just telling you in general, you got to stay away from vultures. And the kite is a type of prey bird. Okay, even the raven after his kind, and the owl, and the nighthawk, and the cuckoo, and the hawk after his kind. And the cuckoo is a type of small bird, kind of like a road runner. That's a type of cuckoo. So you don't eat a road runner, type of bird. Um, verse 17, and the little owl, and the cormorant, cormorant, and the great owl. The cormorant is a type of larger bird, okay? And the swan, the the cormorant is kind of, it looks similar to a swan, not quite as big, but it's kind of like that. But you're not to eat that type of bird. And the swan and the pelican and the gear eagle and the stork, the herring after his kind. When it says after his kind, it's talking about any type of bird that is of that lineage that's considered a heron. There are many different offshoots of the heron. So it's saying that after its kind, meaning of that same group. And the lapwing and the bat. A lapwing is a type of bird. It's about 10 to 16 inches long, and it has like a wailing cry. So it's a type of bird, a lapwing. Verse 20, all fowls that creep, going upon all four, shall be an abomination to you. Now what it's doing, when it says all fowls that creep going upon all four, it's talking about upon all four legs. It's not talking about 4 feet. Okay, some people get it mixed up, thinking that you can't eat chicken. It's not talking about chicken. And when it says fowl, if you go into the interlinear Hebrew for that word fowl, it's talking about winged insects. Talking at this point in verse 20, it starts talking about insects, winged insects that crawl upon all four shall be an abomination unto you. Yet these may ye eat of every flying, creeping thing that goeth upon all four. So it's talking about flying insects that go on all four, which have legs above their feet to leap withal upon the earth. Even these of them ye may eat. The locust, so it's telling you, like the locust, you can eat that after his kind, and the bald locust after his kind, and the beetle after his kind, and the grasshopper after his kind. But all other flying things, that's going back to um, the fowls that creep, meaning the flying insects in this verse 20, is going down and saying those are flying insects, that the only ones that you can eat are the locust after his kind, and the bald locust after his kind, and the beetle after his kind, and the grasshopper after his kind. But all other flying, creeping things which have 4 feet shall be an abomination unto you. Verse 24, and for these ye shall be unclean. Whosoever toucheth the carcass of them shall be unclean until the evening. And whosoever beareth aught of the carcass of them shall wash his clothes and be unclean until the evening. The carcass of every beast which divideth the hoof, and is not cloven footed, nor cheweth the cud, are unclean to you. Every one that touches them shall be unclean. So again, it's telling you that if you don't divide the hoof, like a pig, like a camel, you can't eat it. It is unclean to you. Verse 27, and whatsoever goeth upon his paws, among all manner of beasts that go on all four, a lion, a tiger, as an example, those are unclean to you. Whosoever touches the carcass shall be unclean until the evening. So you can't eat a lion, you can't eat a tiger, you can't eat a bear, you can't eat a alligator, like a lot of other nations eat different types of very nasty animals. You as an Israelite, we're not allowed to eat those animals. Verse 28, and he that beareth the carcass of them shall wash his clothes and be unclean until the evening. They are unclean to you. And these also shall be unclean unto you among the creeping things that creep upon the earth, the weasel and the mouse and the tortoise after his kind, and the ferret and the chameleon and the lizard and the snail and the mole. All of these are very nasty animals. No one wants to eat a mouse, okay, or a lizard, or a chameleon, or a tortoise, okay? These are unclean to you among all that creep. Whosoever doth touch them when they are dead shall be unclean until the evening. So this is a little quick uh, lesson to better understand what animals you can and you cannot eat. Uh, 1 Kings verse 4, verse 22, and Solomon's provision for one day was 30 measures of fine flour and 60 measures of meal. Verse 23, 10 fat oxen and 20 oxen of the pastures and 100 sheep, besides harts and roebucks and fallow deer and fattened fowl. You know, fattened fowl would be like chickens, turkey, and stuff like that. So King Solomon, he made sure that the animals that they ate were clean animals. Okay? We didn't eat unclean animals. That came during slavery, uh, when we were given the worst animals like pigs and and and, and chitlins and stuff that we had to make do with because we were slaves. You're no longer we may be in captivity, but you're no longer a slave in the sense of that you cannot choose what you eat. If you choose to eat uh, shrimp, lobster, uh, crabs, and stuff like that because you like it, that means that your lust for food is more important than the Most High. If you still eat pork and say I can't do it, the Most High will not send me to hell because I'm not eating pork because I'm eating a piece of pork. You know, I would hate to be you. Isaiah 66 verse 16 says, "For by fire and by his sword shall the Lord plead with all flesh." How does the Lord plead with all flesh? By killing them. And the slain of the Lord shall be many. So how is the Lord going to plead with all flesh? By the sword. He's going to kill a lot of people. A lot of Israelites are going to be put to death because verse 17 will kind of explain it. That's verse 16. Now verse 17. They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh. There will be Israelites caught when the Most High come back, or when Yahweh come back, eating pork. They will be at Burger King or McDonald's eating a cheeseburger with bacon on it, and they will be slain. It says, "For that they that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh and the abomination and the mouse." Remember, it says that the mouse is unclean. You can't eat a mouse or a lizard or anything like that. "Shall be consumed together, saith the Lord." It said all them that Yahweh shall catch eating pig, eating all those abominable things, eating catfish, eating a mouse, they all will be consumed together. So let me read it the end one more time. Isaiah 66, verse 16 and 17. "For by fire and by his sword shall the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many." Verse 17. "They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh, pig, and the abomination, and the mouse shall be consumed together, saith the Lord." Verse 18. "For I know their works and their thoughts. It shall come, and I will gather all nations and tongues, and they shall come and see my glory." Okay? So with that, Israel, I just want to let you know that keep the Most High's law, statutes, and commandments. Keep the law dealing with the dietary law. Make sure that you're eating that which is lawful to eat, and stay away from those things that are unlawful. And don't believe that as long as if I only eat a little bit of pork every so often, the Most High will be okay with it. He is not okay with it. It's abomination, and he will destroy you on his return. And with that, I say shalom.